get going. Yes, Larry.
Craig, first of all, just give us a rundown of how you constituted the squad.
I think we've got a nicely balanced squad. Obviously, with the inclusion of Ernest Masuku, who's come in, who did well against Scotland in the A-side stuff. So really exciting to see a new face join the squad. Brad Evans back in after being out of the squad for quite a while. So I think we've got a really good balanced squad, and really looking forward to the weekend of ODI cricket.
Alright, so just going back like a few weeks, because of this conference that's what the chairman had. So just two questions from that coming from the one, he really was backing the team, and it's just one how he feels about that in terms of perhaps the way. And then secondly, more granular question that was asked was said about the preparation of the pitches. How do you feel about the way the pitches have been played, prepared every day? So some people say maybe it's not necessarily clean to spend some of the two questions.
Yeah, I think to answer your first question, I think it's always nice to obviously have the backing from above, and there's always going to be outside noise. I think regardless of whatever's happening, I think you have to be, as a professional sportsman, you have to be able to block that out and focus on the task that's at hand. And I thought the guys did that extremely well. I think to answer your second question with conditions, I think we have tried to move away a little bit just from flat wickets. So I think in the test matches that we played in Bulawayo, there was a little bit more on the wicket than what we used to. And I think, we will hopefully reap those rewards from playing in those conditions a little bit more often. I know that the results probably didn't really reflect a great deal, especially with the amount of test cricket that we have been playing throughout the year. But I certainly think that if we can play on wickets and conditions like that a little bit more consistently, especially in the red ball space, I think they'll hold us in good stead, especially when we go and play cricket outside of Zimbabwe.
Yeah, Craig, probably looking at the fact that you last played a series of this nature, against Ireland. Coming up with Sri Lanka, probably how are you going to how are you looking forward to this series and probably beautiful one expectations this time around?
Yeah, I think our last ODI series against Ireland I thought was really good. I think the way we went about our business is something that we certainly want to replicate in this series against Sri Lanka. I know that Sri Lanka obviously a lot more skilled side than what Ireland was, but I certainly think that it will be a great test for us, I think, to see where we are in the white ball space. And hopefully we can replicate some of the good things that we did against Ireland, especially at the top of the order. I think the way Ben Curran and Brian Bennett batted against Ireland, really set the platform for us. So, those little things, if we can do that consistently, I think we'll find ourselves getting the right results.
Mine is a two-fold question. Given that you've got quite a mature squad, that's the members that come to the squad, and there's been always talk about the handover and takeover in terms of learnings, are you planning to mix the what you call the selection, or is it more about opening as a for 2027? And my second question is, so quite a lot of what you're expecting to do.
Yeah, so I think to answer the first question, especially in this series, it's only a two-game series. So I think, with our preparations leading into it, we really wanted to hit the ground running tomorrow. We can't play catch-up. There's just not enough time for that. So we really need to nail our processes and our plans and make sure that, we get off to a great start tomorrow. It's only a two-game series. And going 1-0 up tomorrow, I think, puts us in a great position. And then with Brendan Taylor, he's done a lot of glove work, even down in Bulawayo, and I think he will be taking the gloves, and we'll see how that goes. He's obviously done a lot of work fitness-wise as well, so I certainly think that his body's in the best space and best condition, I think, for him to be able to get through that sort of workload. So really excited for him to take the gloves and obviously be back in the white ball squad. So yeah.
Sorry, once again, just going back to some past comments. I think Coach made some comments earlier on, some weeks back about sort of like the resolve of players, and some players may not be playing for the team, but themselves. Just reports on that. And then, secondly, what's your message to the fans to come and support some cricket this weekend tomorrow? Which you overseas?
Yeah, look, I think when you're sitting up in the change room and that, I think you can get a slightly different perspective of what's happening out in the middle. So I know that some of the things that have come across, which you mentioned around guys, being a little bit selfish. I think it is a very fine line, because I think in a way you have to be selfish, and if you are selfish, that does benefit the team. But it has to be within the team's plans as well. I think with that, the message to the fans, playing at a Royal Sports Club, I think for a lot of us is one of our favourite grounds to play at, and it only gets better when there's a decent crowd. So to a lot of the fans that maybe are sitting on the bench as to whether they want to come and watch, I think come down and watch Friday and Sunday. We really enjoy playing in front of a good crowd, and hopefully we can give the guys a lot to cheer about.
Just going as far as formats are concerned, you just come out of a grueling year of Test cricket. Is it something of a relief that you went away for a bit, or for like a week and a half? You came back and it's a different format, and you can think about the game differently.
Yeah, no, certainly. I think it's nice to be able to change the tempos from Test cricket to white ball cricket. And then having these ODIs leading into the T20s next week, and then obviously the qualifiers. I think it's a nice little transition, I think, for everybody to get into. The Test period was obviously tough, playing against some really good oppositions. And I think guys have self-reflected a lot over the last sort of 10, 14 days. I think guys will probably write down a fair bit of stuff, I think, after that Test bank, and pack that away and focus now on the white ball stuff. But at least it's something that guys can go back to. Obviously, when we get back into Test cricket, maybe end of October with Afghan or next year, I think there's a lot for guys to have taken from that red ball period of 3-4 months.
Okay. Anyone else? Just one?
So, you haven't gone in with the frontline spinner in this particular series. Do you feel a little bit light? I know Sean was bowling in the Test, so you might bowl in the series. But what was the thinking behind that not having a frontline spinner?
Yeah, I think with obviously Willow back and bowling, I think he plays a crucial part in that middle period. Raz has done it for many years as well, and we felt that with missing Wellington due to his ankle injury, we felt that those two guys could do the job. And then obviously you've got Wes in there, who's also really good with the white ball. And Benny's also been putting in a fair bit of work in the nets and that. So I think across those guys that we felt that we didn't really need a frontline spinner. We thought that department, I think, would be covered by those guys.
So just follow up on what you said, again, the balance of the team. So you put the two scenarios where you play 3 seamers, and then you allow an extra better, and allow your brother to go the other 10 overs, then at times to take the other 10 overs. Then you've got a scenario where you play 4 seamers, then you can play extra better. If you can kind of balance in terms of what you guys want to do to the set.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's quite important to have that all-rounder. Unfortunately enough, we've got Brad Evans in the squad, we've got Ernest Masuku, and then obviously Newman, who's also doing a fair bit of work on his batting. So that sort of number 8 spot for us, I think, is really crucial, because depending on the conditions, you want to be able to go either way. So it'll be a key role, I think, going forward, especially in the white ball format.
Then finally, maybe doing it, maybe the best part of it is that let's say we have this to play the first game. Generally, if the bad game planned to drop them, so it's more like 2 games for we by selected. We do it something like that.
Yeah, I think with such a short series, I think after the first game, if it obviously doesn't go quite as planned, I think you just have to work out what's going to be your best 11 going into the second game to give you the best chance of winning. Whether it's going with 4 seamers or 3 seamers and an extra batter, I think those discussions will be had leading up to that. But hopefully the first game goes well tomorrow, and then we don't have to worry too much about the rest.
All right, thank you very much.